Welcome back, everybody, and we're here ready with Patreus and Bling. And I'm sure you saw a lovely close-up of me as we went through some different slides there for a bit of fun. Give you almost a behind-the-scenes double camera weird action thing, but we'll brush over it nice and quickly. So it's going to be JJAKJI taking on Jaedong, a game that we were all looking forward to and wanting to see. And it's just so tough. I know we were just speaking about it, but I personally can't call it. We know where our hearts lie with it, but I think, obviously, Jaedong's just played. He's going to have a little bit of momentum. He's going to have some confidence. JJAKJI, he's been able to sit back. He's been able to watch some of it. Who do you think is going to be going in with a slight advantage in that terms?
I mean, sitting back and watching, I think it's more just thinking because it was the ZVP series, so it wasn't like he got any insight. Maybe he had time to rewatch the VODs of Jaedong vs. Hart, but honestly, those weren't too telling, I would say. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I definitely agree with you guys hyping up the momentum that a series win brings to a player. And I think Jaedong, will do well with that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, like raw skill and just, where you're at is always going to be the clear favorite. So I wouldn't say anything like that is a big deal.
And it's definitely going to be like an on-the-day type of thing and how he's feeling right at this moment. Yeah. But if I was Jaedong right now, I'd be feeling pretty damn confident.
Yeah, it was his first game of the day as well, wasn't it?
He came in and just did what he needed to do.
He played his previous series, the one that he lost yesterday. So that might have been an off day, and today might be an on day. So hopefully it is, obviously. But yeah, I feel like Jaedong's ZVT's always been pretty decent. From what I remember seeing, it's always been pretty good. Like, because his mechanics have always been kind of top notch. It's just been his decision making that's always really kind of let him down. Like, he's always been really, really quick and really, really accurate with everything he does. It's just sometimes he'll make a few questionable decisions and it would end up in him losing the game. So I don't know. I guess his decision making seems to be on point today. So yeah, I really hope he wins, man. I can't express that.
This is all you want, Blink.
I'm just looking at him up there, and
like, yes, we're seeing him.
He's just
let's see him do it.
He's so beautiful.
We're gonna have all this like man crush on the dong right now.
We already do, man. God.
And with what you were saying about him making like the wrong decisions, things, what do you think that actually comes down to for Jaedong?
No, it's just one of those things. Like,
it's just like when you watch him, it's just almost weird playstyle choices.
I mean, because if I knew what it came down to myself personally, I'd be a lot better. No, but I mean, for me personally, because I make bad decisions all the time. So if I knew that, then I'd help him out. But no, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, sometimes I don't know how you can improve that. I guess you just got to practice a bunch, but he practices a bunch, I'm sure.
Yeah, he practices hardcore.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I really can't put a finger on it, and I'm sure he can't either. I'm sure he'd love to. But it's not like saying he's got bad decision making. It's just like every time he's kind of gone out of a tournament, it's always been because of that. Like, it's always been a big major factor. Like, it's never really been his mechanics or anything like that. And it seems like every time I watch him play, all the casters highlight on that. So actually, I'm not going to highlight on that anymore because
we're going to leave it.
I don't want him to watch this back. If he watches this back, all I want him to see is love and appreciation.
I'm sure he'll watch the English cast back.
Patreus is like, he's not going to watch this back. Stop dreaming.
He might do, Matt. He might do. He might watch his own series back.
When we come back, we'll go see him in the lobby and we'll be like, Jaedong, just watch this part so you can see how much Bling appreciates you and loves you.
No, he knows that. I seen him at breakfast this morning and.
Love eyes across the room.
I walked, like he was walking past and then he noticed it was me and I was like, hi.
When I run up to him next time, she'd be like, oh my God, Jaedong.
You should.
Just make him feel some love.
He loves it, man.
I'm sure he's getting that like crazy in the venue right now, though. All the filled out seats in the cinema, people just going, oh my God, look who it is.
Yeah, all the fangirls.
Oh,
included.
Well, we're going to throw it straight to the casters now. We're ready for this game, 110%. Last game of the day. It's going to be the Muslim and Caldor casting. So over to you two lovely chaps.
All right, after Bling just highlighted that he thinks that Jaedong has very bad decision-making, we're going into that series in just a second in our Terran versus Zerg. And what do you think? Who's going to take it here?
Like, despite what everybody's saying, I actually think Jaedong's always had a pretty darn decent ZVT. Like, back in the day, when he lived in the EG house over in Korea, there was Tasia there as well. Or at least, he was playing against Tasia quite a bit in tournaments and what have you. And for some reason, Jaedong always used to beat Tasia, despite Tasia being possibly the best Terran in the world. So he has had these periods of time where he is one of the best ZVTs on the planet.
Well, he actually was able to get back into the last series right now. So he, of course, plays a different matchup. But we've been talking already a bit about him maybe having now with that confidence. You were saying that he's actually one of those guys who can really just concentrate on the next game, completely zones out everything else, and it doesn't even doesn't matter to him if he just lost the game. To me, that's super impressive, because I think if I would have lost against Hard without taking a single map, getting destroyed, then losing against Terminator, I would be a wreck in there. But if he is really able to zone that out completely, that's pretty impressive, and he will have to do that again. Now he plays a new series, and this is the last one of the day. So the victor of this best of 3 is going to advance to the next stage of the tournament. Tomorrow, starting to the bottom right, we have our Terran player. It is JJAKJI. And here on Dead Wing, all the way up to the top right, the fan favorite for EG, it is Jaedong.
Big following for the Dong. Wow, and he's starting off this series in not Jaedong fashion right now. This is an 8 pool. And what's this good against? It's good against CC first and things along those lines. But if he's not against the CC first here, he's really, really gambling. And this map, it is primarily a CC first, but with how this SCV is rallied here, I'm worrying for Jaedong.
What happens if, this is not going to be that command center, so what is that situation for Jaedong right now?
Well, Jaedong is obviously going to be piling out quite a few lings to try and cancel or kill an SCV and cancel the CC and then just deal damage from there on. There's only going to be 1 Marine out at that period of time. Even an early drone scout, so I like the fact that he's doing this. So he's not fully throwing all his eggs in one basket, but he's going to be behind. He's going to be behind how this game goes. The Reaper build, a Reaper against 6 slow lings out on the map. If they're not on creep, the Reaper can outrun them.
What exactly does Jaedong have to do to recover from this?
To recover from this, well, damage needs to be done. Like the worker count, as you see, it's 13-9 right now. The Terran also went for a build where he doesn't have totally fluid SCV production, so there's probably 1 or 2 SCVs behind where he should be. But Jaedong, ideally, upon seeing this Reaper come out, or rather the SCV, so he's seeing what's happening here. He's going to wait for the Reaper to walk to his base. But the fact that an SCV has came out onto the map now and will scout, this is really, really bad for Jaedong. If he gets to that tower in time, actually sees it, but this is a big deal. If he doesn't see the lings on the map, this is still pretty okay for Jaedong.
So far, no vision granted just yet. The Zerglings dodging the tower vision and now moving in again.
Oh!
And there comes... Yeah, didn't he just build a command center?
I think JJAKJI actually sniffs something out here, because producing this second depot, it's good to do that, but the fact that he hasn't seen a hatchery here, and when he sees these lings, he's going to make the CC on the high ground, and he's going to be in pretty decent shape.
I could have sworn that I saw a command center on the minimap at the natural. Maybe I'm mistaken, or he just canceled that and decided to go into the full wall there regardless. But there we have it, and this is really bad news right now. That Reaper alone with good Michael can take down those Zerglings. We have a full wall.
Yeah, the full wall, and one of the bad things that also happened there was the SCV stayed on the wrong side for Jaedong, so he didn't get to pick off the SCV even. Now, JJAKJI is producing a CC behind the barracks. Jaedong, what's he doing here? He hasn't got a hatchery going up. Yes, he started mining gas, but what's he doing with it? I don't believe anything right now. He's not got enough gas, so he's really, really, really far behind.
And he's currently looking at 17 harvesters against 17. Of course, that mule figures into that as well, and the command center is on the way. So for Jaedong, even with the gas, there's very little that he can actually do with this.
Ooh.
Going for speed maybe, but that Reaper is going to maybe, well, at least deny that expansion for now. But with all those Zerglings now heading back, the defense is also going to be a bit tricky. We have 2 Reapers already, and they might even be able to take down a few drones.
I believe even a 3rd Reaper is on the way now. So dealing with slowlings, it's going to be very, very easy. There's only 1 queen on the field right now. Yes, the Reaper does get low, but that Queen being as low as it is, this just spells out trouble any day of the week for Jaedong. So 17 workers against 20. Each orbital is basically 5 extra workers, so JJAKJI is technically 8 workers ahead right now. The hatcheries only just started going down. 8 Zerglings lost, and now this Queen is under fire. I believe the 3rd Reaper will join up pretty soon too.
He won't be able to save that Queen. 1 Reaper actually died already, so he got 1.
Oh,
no, he
another
got
one.
Second one, and the Queen is still alive. That is a killer Queen right there. The Reaper trying to get it. He might be able to save that. Not quite.
He was even pulling drones to initially try and save the Queen there, but Queen goes down. Now there's no lava injects for quite some time, so his economy again stunted. 23 workers to 17. Yes, he's getting Zergling speed, but there's going to be Hellions on the field pretty soon, so regardless of how many Lings you're going to make, you're going to trade inefficiently. And I think this is going to be a Banshee on the way too. JJAKJI's definitely way ahead this game.
I mean, Jaedong took a calculated risk here, and it did not work out for him. If there is going to be the command center for JJAKJI, then it's a whole different ballgame, and suddenly Jaedong is in an amazing position. But the Terran player didn't do that, went into the Reaper build, and has now a great position on the map, even though he lost those 2 Reapers. He has a great tech here, going into Cloak, starting the Banshee, Hellions are on the way. Jaedong is finally finished with speed, and that gives him some presence on the map, at least on the ground. But with him just now starting his expansion up, or just finishing it up and starting with the mining there, he's in a horrible spot.
Really clean play by Jaedong with the Lings though. He sees the Hellions move out of the natural or onto the natural, so he moved his Lings back. He doesn't want to be spotted here, so he's assuming that those Hellions are out on the watchtower, but JJAKJI playing very safe here with these Hellions and does get a few nice shots off with the Hellions. They are surrounded though, so instantly loses 1 Hellion, so Jaedong making the most out of a bad situation, but more Hellions joining the fray here.
Yeah, and the Lings getting into the main base, seeing what's going on. So they saw Cloak, and the Banshee is... well, not done just yet, but we have already double Queen so far. He gets additional set of Harvesters. Do we have a Banshee already out? One is on the way.
Yeah, but seeing that Cloak, that's a big deal. Now Jaedong knows exactly what he's up against, so he knows how to defend against it. Gets spores, gets Queens. The thing is, even if these Banshees don't deal damage now, any drone that he has to force into a Spore Crawler right now, it's still putting Jaedong further and further behind. You see 37, 36 workers against 32. But JJAKJI, he's on 2 orbital commands now. He's got a wall up at his natural. In fact, what are these Lings doing at the natural? That's the big deal here.
Lings are trying to break through. We have still... oh, they're actually going to get through that one supply depot at least, but we still have all of those Hellions up at the top, trying to take down not only the Queen, but could head straight into the mineral line. And also the armory is about to be done. The Queen already down, and that's the big deal. A great position here, not only for the Banshee, right at that choke point.
GG.
This is JJAKJI just taking it apart here at the natural and in the main base.
You know, Bling talked about this in the analyst's room. He talked about Jaedong just sometimes makes weird decisions that kind of cost him his tournament life. And here, he's one of the Zergs. He's one of the Starcraft 2 players with some of the best mechanics you've ever seen. Like, if you watch him play, he's all over the place. Perfect accuracy in every way, shape, and form. But he tried to gamble with an 8-pool here, hoping that his opponent might do a build that is common on this map, which... yes, 60% of the time, he'd be right, and he probably would walk away with a win, but why take the gamble? Like, you have to ask yourself, why take the gamble? And that does show a bit of a lack of confidence right there from Jaedong.
Well, you've been talking about it, that with the macro that he has, and that you actually think that he's the favorite going into that series, so... taking that gamble here did not work out for him, and especially on this map, he could have just like played the straight-up game, going into the long game and trying to just like take down JJAKJI with his mechanics. As is, he's down 1 map in the best of 3. Puts him into a bit of an awkward position there.
In a very awkward position. I don't know what the next 2 maps are, but Deadwing's one of the decent maps for Zerg in this pool, like one of the very decent maps, depending on what JJAKJI's actually chosen to veto. So Varney Research Station and Overgrowth, if it gets to the 3rd map with Overgrowth, that's a good Zerg map as well, but Varney Research Station, I'm worrying for Jaedong here. I'm really worrying.
Well, at this point, I mean, I kind of like the idea that he's starting to get, that he has an opening where he says, okay, I'm going to risk something, but not on the first map and not on the map like that wing, because I feel like here, if he's 1 game ahead, then I would have expected something like this, but I guess the idea behind it was to just like throw something at JJAKJI that he definitely didn't see coming, especially on the first map. He said that Jaedong usually doesn't do that, so I guess he gambled too much with it.
I think Jaedong, one of the things that he used to maybe mess up on in ZVT was the fact that he didn't hit the 80 drone count as fast as he should. He used to stick around like the 66 to 70 mark, which just isn't enough. So it was kind of like a, I didn't make enough drones decision, which ultimately that's one that you can fix in a game or 2. So like once he fixed that, his ZVT went through the roof, and he has really clean micro, In fact, his Zergling Baneling micro, he had JVZ for the longest time, just because he was so good at it. So I hope we see a normal macro game from him this game.
Well, we definitely have the opportunity for it. Now that we're on the second map, Vani Research Station is map number 2 in the best of 3 series here. And all the way up to the top in red for EG, we have Jaedong. The Dong on the first map with an 8 pool against his Terran opponent. Down to the bottom, we have with the 1-0 lead in the series now, JJAKJI.
Now, Vani Research Station, it's one of those maps that's new, or relatively new in the ladder pool, and one of the big defining characteristics of this map is you have a natural in the back of your base, which is really, really cool. It makes it safe, it makes it a very greedy map, it makes it a macro-centric map. So both these players should feel very safe with taking an early base. We do see JJAKJI opting for that 11 Rex, which means an 11 gas straight up. It usually dictates that you're going to make 3 Reapers and just play very aggressive with your Reapers. We saw that in the previous game, that actually allowed him to fend off the 8 pool, but in a normal game, normal situation like this, where it's quite difficult to take your third down the ramp from your main, he can deny the third or at least delay the third for a long time today, creep spread, and force your opponent onto a 2-base situation that he doesn't want to be on.
Yeah, at this point, I mean, a lot of the Zerg players that we've seen in different matchups right now actually opted to getting the outer expansion first. What do you think about that in this matchup?
You can do it for sure. Especially against Protoss, you can tend to get away with those kind of builds. Against Terran, though, one of the things that is an advantage is creep spread is so far forward. But then taking your third, which third do you take? You take the third in the back of your base. It kind of makes sense to just play safe on the 2 bases and threaten the Terran opponent with like the possibility of 2-base Mutalisk or 2-base Roaches. You don't know what they're going to do.
Which is actually one of the builds that we've seen a lot in this tournament in ZVT, going for the 2-base Mutalisk build, especially on our first day where we already had a couple of games. That was a very, very popular one. Right now, JJAKJI heading with that first Reaper cross map, or will do so in just a second. For Jaedong, we have the pool now starting up, and the Overlord is, of course, going to spot that Reaper pretty soon.
So both players, or at least Jaedong knows what he's up against now, so he's seen the Reaper, he's seen the timing for it. He can pretty much safely assume that there's going to be at least 2 Reapers on the field, especially given that he hasn't seen a reactor there. So it's at least 2 Reapers, probably 3. That's kind of the new meta of Terran. So what does he do against this? Well, he's going to get out 6 Lings, he's going to get out Queens, quite a few Queens, and speed as soon as he can. And as long as he doesn't lose any drones here, he's going to be in a pretty comfortable situation.
And we have the Reaper already in the main base trying to go exactly for that. JJAKJI, of course, knows that if he can take a few of those Harvesters down, he's going to be in a really good spot here. The spreads are good from Jaedong. The Zerglings finally also in the game to threaten the Reaper. And the Reaper is still angling towards those drones and gets at least 1.
So yeah, that drone ran off the creep there, so he couldn't put a spore right where it was. Oh, 2 drones down. This is really, really bad for Jaedong. When you're a Terran and you play this build, you don't account for killing anything but Lings at this point in time. So the fact that he's taken out 2 drones, that is huge.
With a single Reaper, I mean, he's going to have to deal with 3 in just a few seconds. But at this point, there's only 2 Reapers there.
And look how low that Queen's got.
Yeah.
So by the time the 3rd Reaper comes, these 2 Reapers will have regened all their health, so he can start dealing damage again. And the rule of Terran against Zerg, 6 minutes is usually when the speed hits. And if we look at the production tab, he's not even getting speed right now. So where's he going to use his gas? Probably for a really fast lair and the 2-base Mutastyle that we talked about? Or has he just forgotten?
Well, at the same time, the Queen is now under a lot of pressure, and we don't see speed yet either. Oh, he kills the Zerglings now off as well. The second Queen comes in, and that helps a lot with the defense here. But he is still in so much trouble. And as long as JJAKJI doesn't mess up his micro and loses the Reapers, there's a huge threat, not even just now, but also when the Hellions come into play.
I'm very surprised that there's no speed yet, but yes, so we do see that lair. So based on the number of extractors he's going to make, that's how we can define what he's going to do from this point on. So 2 extra extractors. This looks like it's going to be Roaches at this point in time, Kaldor. And it looks like he's going to try and sneak. In fact, is this going to be a sneaky attempt at a 3rd here? Or a Roach Warren? And there is the Roach Warren.
Yeah, Roach Runners here goes also straight for a potential wall with the Evolution Chamber here. Can then use the Queen to make sure that nothing gets into the main base. The Terran player at the same time starting with the Hellion production right now. And Jaedong, of course, trying to spread the creep down the ramp now.
Now, the worker count, 36 to 27, 37 to 27. You may think, oh, that's great for a Zerg, right? Well, if you think of each orbital command as 5 SCVs, these players are practically even. And the fact that he hasn't got a 3rd even started yet, and now JJAKJI just runs up this ramp, he's going to take out a Queen immediately. If he gets that Queen and he sees there's no speed on the Lings, okay, so only losing 1 Reaper, almost killed the queen, got the queen away, so that's nice by Jaedong, but he revealed his tech structures there, and also he ran enough in to see that that gas wasn't taken, this most exterior gas here, so I think Jaedong should really have taken both gases in his main, because they're the most likely to get scouted here, but just a few decisions by Jaedong that I'm not liking too much. But here he's going to scout the gases in the natural anyhow. Oh, is he going to get that queen as well? This could be very annoying. Oh, what? Oh, he gets it.
Oh my god. He could have easily moved it away, couldn't he?
He could. He did get the drone sound around on it.
Got the surround on the Reaper, does move the queen away. The queen goes down, Jaedong losing that after all. At the same time, Jaedong is now just moving out with the queens and really trying to put down those creep trimmers to spread the creep as fast as possible. He has the roaches on the map that's going to help him with the defense against the Hellions that we see from his opponent. The third base has started now, and Jaedong is going into upgrades. On the other hand, JJAKJI already with a Banshee on the map, and he's going into the tank as well.
The big thing for JJAKJI here is he identified immediately what his opponent was doing. He saw the Roach Warrant and he saw the number of gases. He also saw the lair timing hit. So he's got his Banshee. He's not playing aggressive with it. He's possibly worried about Nidus here. He's also made a siege tank, or making a siege tank. So he's fully aware of what his opponent's doing. Look at the worker count again, 41 to 44, but he's got 3 orbitals running at this point in time. JJAKJI, he doesn't need to pile on pressure anymore. He's already delayed his opponent enough by doing practically nothing, just by being there. In fact, did he cancel Cloak? Okay, no, kept Cloak. But JJAKJI's in a great situation.
I mean, he has the defense in the main base. There's even 2 bunkers. He's playing it super safe at this point in time, just making sure that if there is going to be a big roach attack, that he can deal with it quite easily. The Viking takes down the Overlord that was trying to delay that third base for as long as he could. Scans in the main base, now revealing also that we have tech started.
Did he see the Hydralisk Den in this scan? I believe he did. Yes, this building is the Hydralisk Den, so he knows exactly what Jaedong's doing. It's not an all-in, but he's getting ready for that possible 2-2 timing that all Zergs do. So now, what is JJAKJI's response going to be? Well, he's going to get up a good 3 or 4 tanks plus at this point in time. He knows he can safely take his third right now, adding on infrastructure, and as long as he just survives Kaldor, he's going to be in great shape.
What do you think Jaedong's move needs to be here? I mean, he saw the scanner as well. He knows about the position here. He'd identified the tanks. He had the scout in the main base earlier. He knows that the third base is coming in right now. There's a few units around. With the situation as it is, what do you think would be the best choice for him?
Honestly, at this point in time,
hope for a mistake.
You gotta hope and pray. I mean, it's like you're playing poker with a guy and your card or your hand's been totally revealed here. So what do you do when your opponent knows what you're doing? He's gonna keep on doing what he's doing. But Jaedong, he has to stick on Hydras now. He's invested in so many upgrades here. The +1, the ranged. There are Banshees trying to deal damage in the top right of the map here. They are thwarted by those queens, so nice play by Jaedong. But right now, how does Jaedong get back into this? Well, sticking at 65 workers, he probably needs to increase that because he's not going to get attacked by his opponent anytime soon. JJAKJI knows that his opponent's going to be the one attacking. So Jaedong, he can probably counterplay that and play greedy in return.
Double upgrades for both of the players. Jaedong a bit faster than his opponent. Only 1 kill on the Banshee. And Jaedong is just like doing all that mechanic stuff that we've been talking about earlier. He's at least trying to spread the creep as fast as he can. As long as he has a decent creep start on the map, that's going to help him with the potential defense against the attacks that JJAKJI at some point is going to launch against him. But for now, the Terran player is in a very, very nice spot at the bottom of the map. Just using his Banshees to poke a bit. And at the bottom of the map, just like getting his upgrades in, getting the armory in, making sure that he pulls all the moves now.
Even if that Banshee doesn't necessarily deal damage directly, as long as he sees Hydras back in that base, that's Hydras that aren't on his side of the map, so that makes him feel safe immediately. Roach will get picked off at the tower. Vision's a big thing, so JJAKJI just scanning that third. Does he actually see the whole army there too? I believe the army just ran out of range, so he knows what he's dealing with. This isn't a big, scary army here, so JJAKJI, he's going to be feeling very comfortable. Adding on a second factory, still making tanks. I think his tank count must be around 5 or so right now, and this is a position that you can't really attack into here.
And he's also moving out with Medivacs now to start with drop play. The Banshee itself is still up at the top right, so if he combines that with this drop, he could do significant damage to the main base. And if he can put Jaedong in an even more passive situation right now, that would be great for him.
Look at the supplies. We have the Terran with the SCV lead, and the supplies are exceptionally close. Roaches, they're exceptionally cheap, but supply efficient, they are not at all. Usually when you find that a player goes for Roaches with Hydras, they hit 200 supply, and the Terran somewhere around the 140, 150 supply mark. Nice snipe on this medevac though.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised he didn't even use that Banshee with it, did he?
Oh,
But right
God.
now, we have Jaedong moving straight into their tank for a second, trying to bait the Terran player out a bit. That stim already being used. We don't have combat shield yet.
No combat shield, but Jaedong's running into these tanks here, and this isn't a trade that he wants to take. Despite kind of leading JJAKJI away from the fight and the tanks continuously, what did JJAKJI lose there? He lost a few Marines and a few Hellbats. Those aren't units that he wants to really keep anyway. So Jaedong kind of tickled the giant there, and 2-2's on the way for JJAKJI, and upon that 2-2 finishing, that's when he's going to move out, and I don't know how Jaedong's going to deal with it. Maybe abducts, maybe blinding clouds on the army. Those are going to be the real factors that he's going for here with this hive. No pathogen glands on the way for infestors, trying to lock that army in place, but if you play against a true Roach Hydra player, let's say a Tefl on Europe, yeah, he'd be at 200 supply laughing right now. In fact, a few minutes ago.
How much is that creep strike going to help him to delay the attack of the Terran player?
It's going to make him move a little bit more cautiously. What Jaedong has to do right now is threaten counterattacks, which it looks like he's posturing up to do here. Just trying to delay the Terran.
And JJAKJI is starting to move on the creep right now. Scans are going to be incoming in sec now to deny that. Actually, scans ahead towards that base, and Jaedong is already moving back, trying to go for the counter-aggression and hitting that third base, and JJAKJI immediately moves back. Only sends a small force over to take down that base towards the left side. Jaedong not reacting just yet, splitting his own forces, trying to get up that ramp, busting through the supply depot, and taking down the third base of his opponent, at least trying to, but the lift is there, and then the last second, the mass repair with the SCVs.
This is a huge committal by Jaedong, though, because this army is not getting out of here alive. So JJAKJI saves his third. His work account's still pretty darn decent. These Hydras getting in, dealing a lot of damage. And this army is going through a funnel here. And tanks, you don't want to be chasing the army in there with tanks. You need your bio running after that army. But these Hydras, he's spreading them up very good. And this is exactly what Jaedong needed.
Yeah, Jaedong actually doing even more damage now over at that natural, taking down the rest of the SCVs there too. And the SCV count of JJAKJI is plummeting down. He's below 40 already now. And Jaedong just takes everything down here, trying to go for that trade. He knew that he would lose his army, but he kills 33 SCVs with this.
And I believe in this situation, with this amount of burrow going on in the main base and the natural of JJAKJI, he's probably muling like a madman right now. And yes, we see mules going down, trying to catch up back into it. So great play with the burrow right there. And Jaedong's moving in again to deal damage.
Great move once again. He moves in, threatens that third base. And of course, JJAKJI needs to react. He might even lose that command center.
It's so low.
Oh, he didn't lift, and therefore the Roaches could still attack, but he saves it still.
And burrowed there. Now he unburrows again in the natural, and this is all the SCVs dying. Jaedong's now at 200 supply against 130 supply JJAKJI. JJAKJI moved out far too prematurely, and he didn't anticipate this counterattack at all.
He didn't see that coming in from the right side, and suddenly Jaedong has a very good angle against the Terran player here. Everywhere, a few units just using burrow, taking down even more SCVs. The work account 76 against 36 right now, and even with all those command centers, this is an issue. Of course, he has to use scans now as well to reveal the burrowed position of the units in the main base.
Now, a little thing that I'm a tiny bit surprised by for Jaedong here is that he didn't start his 3-2. Aha, here he is starting his level 3 upgrade. So normally Zerg, when you go for Roach Hydra, you're far ahead in upgrades. He's decided to spend all his gas on units like Infestors and Vipers here, which definitely bolsters his army a lot, but it can be a little bit risky if your opponent just chooses to sit.
JJAKJI is now going for the creep tumors, but at the same time he's being attacked.
Blinding
Look
cloud.
at that blinding cloud! Oh my god, it's all of the tanks, every single one of them! And suddenly JJAKJI getting completely slaughtered here. Most of his bio is already gone. The Roach and the Hydras are moving straight in to take down the tanks. He can't even move them away. JJAKJI is losing everything here after having an amazing opening. Suddenly it's Jaedong who is going for the aggression.
Well, Calor, you asked, what does Jaedong do to get back into this? And he waited for his opponent to move out and make that. He made a mistake by moving out. There was no reason for JJAKJI to move out at that point in time. He could have sent little drop ships out, retained his tank count, kept increasing his tank count, and Jaedong wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. One thing that Roach Hydra is notoriously weak against is drops, because you have to split up your army. You don't have those mutas to chase down the medevacs anymore. But now Jaedong, he's in a phenomenal position, even taking the gold base here.
And I like those spore crawlers that we just saw there on screen in the main base, making sure that exactly what you just meant couldn't happen, that those dropships would never get through. At the same time, the army supply is nearly doubled by Jaedong, and he is moving in even before the +3 hits, going straight for the kill here, trying to take down JJAKJI, the Terran player, throwing everything that he has against the Zerg. But here come the abducts against the medivacs, and the medivac count is already low. He's sniping them as well. Even the SCVs coming off the mineral line, always a bad sign. And JJAKJI going down to 70 supply. Jaedong wants to take this game, wants to force map number 3. Going up against the tanks right now, might have to move back, but this is an amazing match for him now.
It certainly is. 34 workers against the 69, and 10 of those are on the gold base, just picking apart the bases of JJAKJI here. And JJAKJI, he's wounded, and he's wounded beyond repair.
JJAKJI is trying to do what he can. He has a few marauders still and is pushing this army back, but Jaedong, with the entire economy that he has, is just rebuilding his army. The 3-3 is going to hit soon. Might not even need it. He's going in with the Roach Hydra, sniping even more supply depots, even a few of the production buildings here. And JJAKJI just relying so much on his tanks right now in the defense, but he's struggling, and he's struggling a lot.
Certainly is. It really felt like JJAKJI didn't know how to deal with Roach Hydra efficiently. While he got the tanks out, got the second factory, it all looked pretty darn good up until the point that he got counterattacked. And he had nothing at home, absolutely nothing. He didn't keep any tanks behind. And he was moving very deep onto creep. His opponent could see him the entire time. Creep not only allows you to move faster, grants your opponent vision too. And now he's fighting against a superiorly upgraded army. And man, pulling those tanks in there too, and he's fighting under blinding cloud. He can't get shots off here.
And that third base is the lifeline of JJAKJI here. The main base is starting to run out of mineral patches, of course. JJAKJI trying to make a stand here, but it's already too late. Hydralisk flanking in, and this is going to be game. The entire Terran army is down. He's trying to go for a set of mules, but there's the GG as Jaedong wins game number 2 and forces the third map.
Wow. After a pretty alarming first game there, where he just kind of took it and died very quickly, he managed to turn things around, because it looked extremely dark in this game for him too, but just extraordinary decision making. We all said, like, hey, what can he do to get back into this counterattack? And he managed to split up his units very, very well. Even utilizing Burrow to not make it a one-wave hit. I thought his whole army would die once he invested, but no, he burrowed everywhere. There was no turrets because his opponent didn't anticipate Muta, so you don't make turrets. But he didn't anticipate the burrow either, so really smart play by Jaedong and really good decision-making.
For the longest time, it looked like he would be a clean 2-0 by JJAKJI.
Yeah.
And, I mean, him coming back into this was just, like, great. The opening, especially with us Reaper doing this much damage, the Queen being killed and everything, didn't really look good for Jaedong, but he really just waited for that one mistake, and JJAKJI made it. JJAKJI moved out too far, and then having Burrow as well, those spots, you mentioned them already, in the main base, at the natural, just like getting more kills. I think with the initial attack, he killed 40 harvesters, and really made sure that there was just nothing that he could do. And of course, also the mules that had to be used after that. Those CCs didn't have the energy anymore for scans at the beginning, so he could use those burrowed units to take down even more. Now we're going into the last map, which is going to be Overgrowth. And this map is going to decide which one of those two players will be able to advance to the next stage of the tournament tomorrow, and the loser will have to go home.
Groovy series so far. I'm really liking how they're both playing. JJAKJI definitely had that game in the bag, but managed to throw it awesomely. Again, yeah, I can't emphasize enough how surprised I am by the fact that he just didn't leave some tanks behind to deal with that, because it was very obvious that in that game, the only way he could lose was that. So why didn't he account for that? It just feels that he was very inexperienced, or at least nerves are getting to him a little bit, because he hasn't been playing on the big stage in quite some time, or at least I haven't seen JJAKJI in quite some time.
I mean, considering that he played in Europe for quite a lot, you would expect that he met Tefel a time or two, so yeah, that style should be pretty familiar to him. Well, it is game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, the final game in the best-of-3 series, and also the final game of the day. Overgrowth is the map, and all the way to the top right, we have the Terran player. It is JJAKJI. Not really a lot of JJAKJI fans here. Down to the bottom left of the map, we have his opponent. He looked like dead in the waters, but he is bouncing back. It is the final map. Will he be able to take down his Terran opponent? It is for EG Jaedong.
Quite a few more Jaedong fans in the audience. So Overgrowth, now, this is a map that...
It must be so frustrating to play against Jaedong, because you know that
when you're against the audience as well,
yeah.
Yes. Yes, it is a little frustrating at times. But, okay, so talking about Overgrowth, now, this map, for the longest period of time it's been in the map pool, and it is highly regarded as one of the most balanced maps for every race, for every matchup. But just recently, Zergs have got so good at defending against Terran that if you look at where the Zerg spawns, if he takes the natural, the third, and the fourth, all on the other end of the map there, the distance for the Terran to get to his Zerg opponent is so unbelievably far that Zergs have got so good at creep spreading that creep's going to be everywhere by the time you attack there. So it's got very, very difficult for Terran. So this being the final map, Jaedong should just play a straight up macro game and go for it.
It would just like, I think if I would have seen another like early pull by Jaedong, that would be one of those facepalm moments. That first game was definitely very much not anticipated. I mean, him going for an 8-pull on a big map like that, really gambling this much in such an important series was a bit of a surprise. But especially after that, he was able to get back into the second game, where he relied on his strength, where he relied on his mechanics. I would actually expect him to go for, once again, a very, very long game against JJAKJI, because that must feel really good to win that game.
Certainly. The fact that he went for Roach Hydra, though, like compared
true.
to his normal Mutaling Baneling style that he's very, very famous for.
Very good point, actually.
I have to think that Jaedong might feel a little bit uncomfortable, like going for an 8-pull in the first game, then Roach Hydra, or maybe he's just trying to really play his opponent here, trying to say to him, hey, I can play any style and I can do it very, very well. And throwing out an 8-pull, he was prepared to lose, so maybe that's a sign of confidence in itself. So I don't know where Jaedong's head is right now, and if I don't know where it is, I'm pretty sure JJAKJI has no clue either.
I have to admit, what I would really love to see is exactly that Ling Mira Baneling style, him just like having that very mobile force on the map and not going for something like Roach Hydra, just going for a completely different approach now against somebody like JJAKJI. I would really love to see that long drawn-out macro battle between the two of them.
Now this game far more standard already. Jaedong taking 2 drones off the gas, just leaving 1 on there, going for Ling speed very early on. That means that we're going to see Ling Muta Baneling most likely. That being said, there are still other options that can be done, and seeing this shaking spawning pool here, JJAKJI, and also the drones being pulled off gas, he's going to safely assume, hey, this is Ling speed coming in, so I've got until 6 minutes to harass. By that time, I need to get my butt out of here.
Yeah, double Reba already on the map, third one here. Last time he was able to get a lot of kills with this. This time not a single unit taken down just yet. That Reba needs to be a bit careful, but even the Zerglings are still alive. Jaedong definitely pulling out his micro here, so does JJAKJI. So far, no victims on that map just yet. Overlords, of course, for the Zerg player, getting into position at the natural and also towards the main base of his opponent to find out what's going on there.
3cc again for JJAKJI. Now this is not a greedy build. This is the normal for Terran these days. What can be greedy is if he chooses to forgo his second gas and not get a starport, in which case he'd get 6 Hellions and then the 2 barracks, or 2 extra barracks and the 2 extra engineering bays. That is greedy, and that can die to a lot of builds such as Roach Bane or Lens.
So far, still no units taken down. Jaedong actually with the defense really nice this time. The last time he looked a little bit shaky at the early game with his unit control. This time that's not the case, and we have the Terran player just moving back for now. In terms of production, he's going for that starport that you just mentioned.
This is far less greedy by JJAKJI. So here, he's playing pretty safe. What's he going to use that barracks for? Well, at the moment, he's producing Marines. This will be to deny vision. Maybe he'll get a TAC collab on it now. He could potentially get a medevac through his starport. Oh, but it is the tech lab, so most likely we'll be following up with Banshees here.
Jaedong adding 3 additional gas and even throwing down a spine crawler in this case now, combined with his lair tech, looking very much like we might see him going straight for that spire on 2 bases.
Definitely. With 4 gases available here, usually with 3, that is the signal for roaches, but here he's going for Muta. There's almost no doubt about it. With these Lings hidden by the 3rd here, they might be very unfortunate and just run into 2 Hellions that just spawned, but last game we saw that he made work of them too. Ooh, nice bit of trickery.
That was really well done there. Nice move by JJAKJI, taking those down and also closing the main base off so that there was no chance for Jaedong to get additional information. But he actually saw that starport still.
Sees the starport, but does not see the add-on. And JJAKJI was almost hoping that he did see the add-on, just so he can see the tech lab, because we see that JJAKJI has no intention of making cloak here, so that could have really freaked out his opponent. In fact, the fact that he doesn't see the tech lab at all, he doesn't know if there is a tech lab, he doesn't see it glowing. This is actually really good. So Jaedong needs to make overseers, maybe extra queens if he doesn't want to make spores. And his 3rd, very, very late here, but Spire's on the way.
Spire's on the way, the Hellions on their way as well, and we're already seeing the armory thrown down by JJAKJI. There's only 2 queens. The Lings are trying to cut the path of those Hellions off. There's a lot of Lings by now and should be able to defend against this, especially with the Spinecrawler now being in position 2.
That's a ton of Lings, actually, on 2 bases. Like, a real ton. 46 workers is a decent amount to be on 2 bases with, but that's an extraordinary amount of Lings. There's no Evos on the field, and this 3rd is very, very late. So JJAKJI's going to know something's up here. Taking out this spine is very big, by the way, especially with the fact that Armory's almost done, so that's going to mean Hellbat's on the field very soon.
He didn't have the energy for the transfuse yet, I believe. He was very close, but he just didn't have it, and the Banshee is still alive.
The Banelings, though, the Banelings, and all these Hellbats are clumped up, but a nice spread by JJAKJI. Really nice spread, actually, and all those Banelings just busting on one Hellbat there.
Yeah, he still is able to take them down, especially with the Queens there. He lost a fair amount of Zerglings in the process. Of course, creep not being spread there just yet didn't help the cause either.
JJAKJI's going mech. This is really ballsy, but if there's a map to do it on, and here he's getting his Thor out, mutas are only just in production, so this Thor, very nicely timed, getting turret upgrades. The worker count, very, very even between these two guys. The third has only just gone up for Jaedong. So if we go by that rule of 5 workers for each orbital, JJAKJI is ahead economically here.
Oh, but he's going to lose a few more Hellions if he doesn't pay attention. This time he might be able to surround 1 or 2 of them. The first one already going down. The Banelings on already as well. Doesn't have enough ground army to really move in there, and the gap is being closed. I think earlier he had actually a chance to just move in there, but of course he didn't know that. We've seen that. Here's Burrow in action, denying that third base to the Terran.
Burrow being utilized by Jaedong very well in this series. There are turrets up, but he needs to keep these Hellions alive as this Thor, while he deals with the Mutalisks and keeps them away. If he just Baneling busts that wall and floods in Lings with only 3 Hellions on the field, in fact more are joining, so that's good. Even producing a second wall, so you know that JJAKJI is kind of fearing the possibility of his supply depot wall busting. Sees the Evo chambers on the third. That was a nice scan actually to see that.
Yeah, for Jaedong was actually unfortunate when he started to move. Oh wow, first one already going down, the second one nearly dying. But when JJAKJI or when Jaedong started moving those Banelings, he could have just moved straight into the natural. There was a huge gap there.
Look at this Baneling bomb, Kaldor. This Baneling bomb, that is for transferring SCVs. If he gets that, that would be a magical move.
He needs to really keep tabs on that then, though. That's just like 1 sec that he has to explode those, and if he misses that, that would be, of course, well, not the end of the world, but if he gets it, that would be absolutely amazing, and a disaster for JJAKJI at the same time. And currently, JJAKJI is still looking pretty decent there. There's actually like 2 Baneling mans.
I mean, blowing up on Hellions would be pretty cool too, but I've got to say, these guys, they are destined. Is this going to happen? Is this going to happen?
Yeah.
This could be swag points.
Oh,
Just let it move by. Okay, but this gives him the... This allows him to scan. Ooh! So that turret completes. Now he's going to scan. Blows up quite a few Hellions just because the Hellions were on top of the Banelings when they killed them. But, man, that could have been magic if it worked. Maybe the Banelings need to be a bit further over to the right there. Swarm Host. He's identified mech. He's going for Swarm Host. We're going for the long game, guys.
Yeah, we're going for the long game. Worthy of our third map here. Bottom right, 4th base is being built now as well. And this is going to be a good one. Mech is on the side of the Terran player being produced now. We have additional SCVs coming in, couple of Hellbats going straight for the additional tanks as well. And Jaedong just controlling the map right now, spreading creep, making sure that his Mutalisks are still on the move. Vikings on the side of JJAKJI getting a bit cheeky here, moving out onto the map. We don't have too many Hellions here though. Sorry, Mutalisks though.
Yeah, I was going to say that Viking move out, very, very ballsy. But the fact that there are just so few mutas, he can actually claim air control here. And we do see Jaedong's worried about that. 8 mutas instantly on the way. Does he really want to be buying mutas right now? Mutas are actually okay against mech. You try and slow him down, stop him from taking his 4th, his 5th. You try and deal damage to the innards of the mech. You don't fight him head on. Whereas the Swarm Host, they're just going to keep on pouring units at a certain direction. So you force your opponent to make tanks, which ultimately he doesn't really want to be making, apart from the fact that he has to make them against the Swarm Host.
You know, the big problem that you have with your Mutalisks, of course, if you don't pay attention to the map just for 1 second, you might lose all of them. We've seen that a couple of times where they are just right-clicked somewhere and fly straight into those Thors. Shouldn't happen, but does every now and then. Right now we have another attack, and nice Burrow move here. Trying to...
does JJAKJI find him out.
JJAKJI saw it. He doesn't get fooled here.
Now, these Swarm Hosts are quite leery in the middle of the map here on their own. What is this blue fleet on the left side of the map? Is that just Vikings?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, against this number of Mutalisks now, this is very, very, very risky. And yes, he's going to pick off a few Overlords, which I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, the fact that he's going in for this is very, very ballsy by him.
Yeah, he's taken down 2 Overlords, and he's going to get a lot more than that, but we have the Mutalisks now headed that way, and they should be able to do quite a lot of damage there if he cuts his path of retreat off, and that's exactly what he's aiming for right now. First one is down, going for number 2, taking on number 3. JJAKJI actually losing every single Viking except for 1 here, and that one might be chased down as well, while at the same time the Hellions are being attacked and also eliminated.
Now, Hellions, he wanted to use these to clean up the drone lines. He wanted to distract the mutas so these Hellions could deal damage. Look at Blue Flame. There's no... Blue Flame just wasn't done there. So that was quite bad by JJAKJI. But the idea behind that is Hellions, you don't really want them anyhow. So they are supply that you want to use, but you want to use them to clean up the drones, not to die to the Lings. Like, that was very, very bad for JJAKJI.
I mean, at the end of the day, he lost all of his Vikings and he lost the Hellions without even killing anything. And I think a couple of Zerglings went down, but that's about it. So,
ooh, a second Spire coming on the map for Jaedong. Yeah, double upgrades are potentially the ability to continue his level 3 upgrade and get a greater Spire there too. Lots and lots of options for Jaedong. And the fact that his creep spread's quite decent in the middle of the map, it allows his Swarm host to just move around. Love all these burrowed Lings, by the way, absolutely everywhere. He can constantly see where his opponent is and not have to worry about his movement.
I always have to laugh when I see a command center just like floating in the air because there's a Zergling burrowed. You feel like it could just crush it, but never really happens. Blizzard should install an upgrade for you Terran players.
Yeah, I won't mind you talking to Blizzard about that, but this is a lot of Locust moving, and now this is where it gets to this kind of stale situation in which Terran cannot move out, but the Zerg also can't kill the Terran.
Mutalisk on their way in the main base now. There's, of course, a turret line, and 2 of them already taken out. He's really trying to fight this, gets the Mutalisk together, starts focusing them down one by one. Greater Spire started, and we're having the second Spire about to complete. All the tanks towards the left side put into place, and the command centers here are actually being attacked. He needs to get those anti-air units in position, and he does that with a Thor moving in. It's a very isolated one. Not enough Mutalisk, though, to move in. Magic Box and take it down.
Ooh, but JJAKJI using this time that he's getting attacked to try and deal real damage here. Oh, nice burrow with these Hellions, but JJAKJI not having any of it. Does get a few of those running to this base also. We do see that Jaedong's drone count is actually insanely high right now, so losing a few drones here and there, not too bad for him actually. It's almost what he wants to have happen. But with this huge drone count, and he's still making drones, I imagine that he's going to be wanting to make lots of static defense around the map.
At the same time, the Locusts still trying to make their way over towards the gold base, where we see a planetary fortress. Their tank line is, of course, taking those down quite easily. Creeps are really good for Jaedong on the map now. He's really not slacking with this. He's still keeping up the creep tumor production here, making sure that he's covering the entire map in creep. Very, very well done here. +3 attack for him also started. And at the same time, we're seeing now the Terran player go into those additional starports. 3 already being built.
That is crazy. And +3 attack almost done too. Those Locusts will not survive for much longer. Lots and lots of tanks. One of the things that JJAKJI has to worry about now is the possibility of those Swarm hosts just moving over to the right side and sending Locusts to the natural instead. Because this is extremely exposed here.
Yeah, Mutalisk aiming for that main again, or are they? There are a lot of missile turrets that have been placed down so far. And the Mutalisk, of course, also have a shot at going straight for that tank line, but by now we have all of the Thors in the near vicinity of those, making sure that they are able to protect them.
Corruptors are joining the field, and why are they being made? Well, with the Greatest Spire, and the fact he's getting level 3 and 1 upgrades here on the air, we have to assume Broodlords, but honestly, I don't think Broodlords are the smart... Whoa, big clump on these Mutalisks. That was really, really, really sloppy for Jaedong. Just take a huge Thor volley and loses a lot of them.
And also, not only the Mutalisk, he lost the Vipers that he had as well. That's a lot of gas that just went down the drain there for our Zerg player. JJAKJI, on the other hand, is going to be pretty happy with this move now. Currently, he's looking at a very solid economy. He's going for the Fusion Core. We're having him with an additional set of Ravens being built as well, going for the Fusion Reactors too. We're having more and more Vipers being built for Jaedong right now, and maybe he can set up a good position with the Broodlords here. But right now, he's really starting to build up that mineral bank and also the gas bank.
Now, we talked about how vulnerable this spot was for JJAKJI, and Jaedong's starting to just take advantage of that, just with a few Swarm hosts, but maybe he'll start refocusing his efforts over there. But he wants to keep the siege tanks positioned on the left, and now JJAKJI, he's got a much better siege position here, defending the natural as well. Broodlord's getting morphed, but the fact that JJAKJI already has quite a lot of Vikings on the field, I feel that Broodlords are just a wasted investment here, given that there are 300 minerals, 250 gas each. Yeah. And this is no longer Starcraft. This is a war of attrition.
This is also a really big problem with not only the Viking count, but also the Thors to really supplement for that. I mean, you always have the support from the Thors. Once that the Vipers, or not even the Vipers, but just the Corruptors try to move in to deal with the threat, suddenly there's the Thors as well. And if they get their shots in, then you lose just so much. And that army that he has in the air is super expensive.
SCV is killing creep tumors. Don't see that every day. But yeah, this air army of JJAKJI, he's got 20 supply to keep on enhancing it, and he's getting Yamato cannon upgrade, he's getting Ravens, a lot of Ravens, so he's already prepping for that long game, and is Jaedong a guy that's known for his late game play? I gotta say he isn't, Kaldor. Is he gonna know how to deal with this? Because this isn't a question of how fast you are, or how good you are, or how accurate you are, it's knowing how to deal with it, and the fact that he's gone for these Broodlords, I'm worried for Jaedong, because here, this is what we see happen to them.
Exactly. Here come the point difference drones, the Vikings moving in. We have a few abducts happening, but a lot of the armies of Jaedong already moving back now that they got a bloody nose. And oh my god, that heat-seeker missile.
See some big explosions, and Vikings are in the production tab massively for JJAKJI now, with all those starports that he has.
Look at the money on the other hand. 4,000 minerals already and 1,000 gas for Jaedong as well.
The good thing for Jaedong is he's mining out his side of the map, and he's got a good amount of Swarm Hosts still trying to deal damage. If he gets a Viper Cloud, gets lots of static defense around, and even just has like a handful of Infestors ready to land that fungal, that money fungal on those huge clusters of Vikings and Ravens, he can potentially win this game, because right now it's not about killing your opponent, it's about starving him out. Taking little engagements and winning them.
Yeah, and he's trying to do especially a good job on those Locusts, of course. He can trade those 3 units for at least a couple of Hellbats in this case. At the same time, the Broodlords are trying to make another approach here, moving in once again already. The upgrades still going strong for Jaedong. We have a few battlecruisers being built now for JJAKJI, and he might actually lose a few of these tanks if, for example, that cloud comes in that you've been talking about. Another abduct here against one of the Ravens, takes that one out, kills one of the Vikings too, is moving in using corruption, but has to move back before the Thors become a threat.
These Broodlords are real wasted supply here. You can't break mech with Broodlords, and despite him trying to find a weakness with them, trying to get damage done with them, he's just sacrificing so many units. And yes, he kills a tank here, but the amount of damage that he's lost through using them and trying to use them. Now, Seeker missiles, are these actually going to land on these Corruptors? They do all fizzle out. But look, the Broodlords, what did they achieve, Kaldor? Absolutely nothing.
They killed a couple of tanks and that's about it, but he was able to take at least a few of the area units out with the Corruptors. Even the Thors are still alive, moving back. Just look at the hit points of those Thors. I mean, he needs to send some SCVs or mules in to repair them.
Certainly does, and even these Vikings need to be repaired. They're getting kind of low here. Battle cruisers joining the fray is really, really cool. The earlier you start adding them, the more energy they have. And a Yamato cannon, well, that's a dead Corruptor or a dead Broodlord or Swarm Host. Any unit of your choice besides an Ultralisk at this point in time.
And Corruptors is the weapon of choice for Jaedong now. He's building more of them. At the same time, JJAKJI is increasing his number of starports and adding even more battle cruisers to the mix. Resources lost. You can already see that Jaedong played a very, not really a cost-efficient
Killing his own Swarm Host he is here. Did he actually mean to do that? He killed 2 or so.
I mean, you must have to, right? Why would you actually like micro your Locust?
Well,
yeah, he does.
He's doing this to get more Broodlords?
You would have expected the other way around, I guess.
I don't understand this. And if you're scanning this, you have to assume, hey, what's he actually doing this for? And I mean, that's a lot of Corruptors on the field, but man, that is insane. I mean, now these tanks are wasted, technically, so it's kind of a smart switch, but if he doesn't win with this, the fact that there's not enough turrets here too, this kind of works for Jaedong, but unsiege your tanks right now.
Well, he's not doing that just yet. JJAKJI is losing a lot of those tanks. Yamato cannons are coming in and the Corruptors are already making their move. Jaedong also using all of the units moving him away from those Heatseeker missiles, but a lot of them hitting anyways. The Yamato cannons are off and we're seeing those few tanks just being decimated, but the Viking Cloud is just so amazing, taking down Corruptors and Broodlords alike. The battle cruisers falling, all of them. He's using corruption there too, but he just doesn't have the amount of Corruptors anymore that he needs to deal with the Vikings here.
Look at the gas for Jaedong. Despite that huge bank that he once had, it's totally gone. 7 Vikings at a time. He doesn't need those Vikings anymore, despite the fact that Jaedong's still making Corruptors. He's still tunnel visioning on that air. And you see the face of Jaedong in that webcam. It's no longer the face of a killer anymore. And GG, he gives up.
JJAKJI takes the game, wins the series with a 2-1 and takes down the Dong here. Very well played by him, wins the air battle, and Jaedong maybe with a wrong decision here.
Yeah, from watching that game, it felt that Jaedong doesn't really know how to handle mech. And one of the ways that you handle mech is by not attacking mech, by getting Swarm Host up, by getting lots of static, by getting those fungal or Infestors, Vipers, and some Corruptors for the abducts and such. But this way, trying to get Broodlords, that's suicide. If you don't deal damage with Broodlords almost immediately, you should never make them, because they're a huge, huge investment. That's 250 gas for a Broodlord. You'd much rather have 5 Swarm Hosts than 2 Broodlords any day of the week. And that's the kind of trade that you're talking about in this kind of situation.
I mean, it looked really like the big problem for him was really like that those Vikings took him down so easily, and even the Heatseeker missiles, I mean, they hit home. They took down so many of the Broodlords, even the Corruptors dying to them, and that was a big blow here. Jaedong actually for a long time in this game, I feel, looked like he was in a really solid spot, but then when it went to the very, very late game and JJAKJI just turtled up on his bases.
You didn't know how to kill him. And that's the thing, you don't kill him. Like, you have to play a different game. Like, it's no longer a game of like how to kill your opponent.
Just starve him.
Just starve him out. Just play as efficiently and trades. It's all about the trades, because on that map, it is the mech map of choice if you are going to mech. There's only 6 bases that you can possibly take on your side of the map, and for him on his map. So you just want efficient trades, and you starve them out, and eventually that 200 supply army, it's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be 180, and you're going to be at 200. He's going to be at 170. You're still at 200.
And especially with like Swarmhost, you usually want to be the player who has the more cost-efficient like strategy there. And we saw it in the end with the resources lost that Jaedong lost a lot more than JJAKJI.
Certainly.
So JJAKJI actually the one trading really well against him. But well, of course, we are having also our guys at the analysis desk talking about the game. So let's head over to Banks and the boys and see what they have to say about the last series that we had here on the second day of Gfinity Masters.
Thank you, Kaldor. Thank you, the Muslim. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm going to like that Banks and the boys that Kaldor keeps saying. I think I'm going to get there. You should get used to that. I feel like we've got our own little clique here. I'm joined by Patreus and Bling once again. We've just seen the Dong get taken down in, well, we talked about decision-making before we went into it. That was some poor decision-making and a half. Patreus, I'm going to start with you.
I mean, talking specifically about that third game, I don't know if it was decision-making as it is just no patience. You know, these Koreans, whenever we see them in these long, drawn-out mech games, they're fine with the initial Swarm host, but after that, if you've stuck with the Swarm host, you really just have to stick with them and just go full turtle of your own, you know, add your own static, get your own cloud of air with a few Vipers. And he really didn't have the patience for that. So that's why we saw him killing his own Swarm hosts and trading them out for Broodlords. He just wanted to do a big timing and try to kill. When in reality, he had, you know, the entire map creeped out. He had all his bases mining. He could have, you know, mined out the base at the top before JJAKJI got to it, you know.
Yeah.
The game wasn't going anywhere as it was. It wasn't going to end anytime soon. So
we were just saying it's going to be a long game. We're going to be sat here for the long haul, and then all of a sudden
he decided to spare us, I suppose. But yeah, that's a shame, because I really think if Jaedong tried something else, if you're trying to break a Terran, sometimes you can do it like mass blinding clouds and ultra ling as opposed to the Broodlords. There's lots of different things you can try, but yeah, Broodlords I would never recommend going that route.
Okay, Bling.
Yeah, it was kind of strange because obviously game 1 it was just a build all of us. You can't do much about that. Game 2, it felt like his I don't know the correct word to use here, but just his greatness. It showed, like, the decision, obviously he is behind with the initial Roach Hydra kind of timing that he was going for, but the fact that he was able to manage to kind of exploit one of the only mistakes that JJAKJI could have made to kind of throw the game.
He just clawed his way back in out of nowhere.
It was really cool to see. So going into game 3, I was like, yeah, man, Jaedong's got this.
We all literally sat and we had a different opinion. You were non-committal as normal, Patreus. Patreus was not agreeing to anything. And well, we'll come back to talking about the game. Looking at Sunday's final 8 players right now, Parting is going to take on Sulky. Rain versus JJAKJI, Rogue taking on True, and Heart versus Hydra. There's some really great games to kick us off with tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure.
What stands out for you guys?
Well, I feel like the fact that Parting's got Sulky, I feel like Parting's, well, he's definitely very well practiced against Zerg at the minute. Obviously, he's just played the GSL finals against Life, so he's obviously prepared very well for that. And his PvZ in this tournament throughout has been very, very strong. So I feel like that's a very good matchup for him. Also, he got to, even though Sulky obviously gets to see the VODs of Parting's games against True and whatnot, Parting gets to see the games of Sulky against MC. Did he play? It was MC, right?
Yeah.
So works both ways, but I feel like Parting probably has an edge there.
Okay, well, one thing I'm going to quickly go over here is the fact that we actually have the clocks go forward in the UK this time, so...
Such a joke.
I know,
Banks. It's not,
we're living in the
it's
olden
not
days.
funny.
Yeah. But our clocks go forward, which means time's going to be slightly changed. So for any UK viewers out there, it will affect you guys. Remember, you change your alarms, change your clocks to make sure you're up in time for our 12 p.m. BST start time. We'll all be here ready and waiting for it. But any final words from you guys before we bring on the interview and wrap it up for a fantastic first day?
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed my first day on the analyst desk. Sad that Jaedong didn't come through, but aside from that, you know, I was happy with the results. And yeah, it looks like a really sick bracket. Lots of Zergs.
Yeah, it was a fun day. Obviously, I wasn't really meant to be here, and the fact that I've managed to have a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun today.
Oh, we've had a lot of banter, that's what we've had.
Yeah, and I've got to witness some cool games. Obviously, it wasn't fun witnessing Jaedong just lose there. Or Targa.
I thought you were going to forget them.
But yeah, it was a very fun day, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
Brilliant. Well, guys, we're going to take just a couple of minutes break. We're going to bring JJAKJI on. He's going to have an interview with me, and then we'll be wrapping up for today. But don't go anywhere, because you don't want to miss this interview.
Read about your life in your local papers. Realize the end of us is getting near. You're just a droplet of paint trickled off your canvas. Delirious illusion flowing backwards through the river of color while we analyze to try to see it clearer. Secretly appealing to a lonely prisoner. Now what's your vision? Initiate your shading, blend the universe together in time. It only gets a little easier. Suddenly piece yourself back together now. What's your vision?
And we're back with a man that needs no introduction. It is JJAKJI, who you've just seen defeat Jaedong. Once again joined by Inu, our very kind translator, constantly here listening to me ask questions to people I can't speak to properly. I think that is the only fair way of putting it right now. And considering the length of time I spent in Korea, that's pretty bad. Now, first question I want to ask is for game one. Opened with Reaper. Was he anticipating an early pull, or what was his thought process with that? Was that just game plan?
첫 번째 경기 때 이제 리퍼 사신 빌드로 시작했는데 빠른 풀을 예상하고 그렇게 한 건가요? 아니면 무슨 전략이었나요?
그 제동이 형 게임을 많이 본 건 아니지만 몇 개 봤었을 때 좀 심리전 좋아하시는 것 같아서 데드링 고르면 한 60-70% 확률로 빠른 뭐 쓸 것 같아서 일부러 사신으로 이기려고 했어요.
So I haven't been watching that many games of Jaedong, but I have seen some of them, and I saw that he likes to play mind games, and I thought on that wing it would be like a 60 to 70% chance that he would go a fast pool, so I chose that build.
Oh, brilliant. Well, good decision making for sure. Now, going against Jaedong, that final game, that could have been a long-winded game. What did you think when you saw that he was just massing up the Corruptors and was going for Broodlords as well? Did you think, okay, I've got this in the bag now, or were you still kind of worried and flustered by everything that was going on? Because you potentially could have been in for a very long game.
마지막 게임에 좀 게임이 엄청 오래 갈 수도 있었는데 이재동 선수가 그 브루더트랑 크롭터를 만들어가지고 공격을 한 바람에 빨리 끝났는데 그걸 봤을 때 어떤 느낌이 들었나요?
처음에 무리군주 봤을 때는 좀 생각 못해서 약간 당황스러웠는데 반까마귀랑 바이킹 가지고 있는 게 많아서 막았고 그 다음 스캔으로 제동이 형이 그 자기 군숙 죽이면서 타락기 뽑는 걸 봐서 아 이거 한번 오겠구나 해서 그때부터 바이킹 한번 찍었는데 네, 스캔으로 잘 본 것 같아요.
And the first time when I saw the first Broodlords, I was kind of worried because I didn't really know what would happen. But then when I saw Jaedong actually killing his own Swarmhosts, then I realized that he will actually gather a lot of air units and push me. So I was pretty well prepared with a lot of Vikings and Ravens. So I think because of that scan and seeing that Jaedong was playing something, I was able to win.
Yeah, there was one point that we saw one massive hit on the Corruptors, and we were all sat here and we were like, oh no! And that's kind of when we thought that JJAKJI definitely had it in the bag. Now, going into day two, obviously it's quite late now. We've been having a full day of Starcraft action. What's the plan? Are we going to sit back and watch some replays? Are you going to relax now and maybe party of all things? Or are you just going to go home, relax, and then come back tomorrow with the fighting mentality to kind of come through and do your best to win?
오늘 엄청 긴 일정이었었는데 이제 다음 라운드에 진출하고 내일 위해서 준비할 게 있다면 무슨 준비를 할까요?
준비 일단 빨리 호텔 가서 밥 먹고 잠을 자야 될 것 같아요. 내일을 위해서.
Preparations. I think I just have to go to the hotel and get some food perhaps and just sleep.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Now, one thing I wanted to ask is, we haven't really seen too much of JJAKJI, say, in the last year or so, compared to what we have in being a top player. Now, all of us have said this today, that it seems like he's in great form. What's changed, and why has he been so quiet recently?
좀 최근 들어서 작지 선수를 대회에서 많이 볼 수 없었는데 이번 대회에 와가지고 엄청 좋은 모습을 보여주는 것 같은데 뭐가 바뀌었나요?
좀 마음 편하게 오긴 했는데 오니까 되게 경기장이랑 되게 선수들 케어도 잘해줘가지고 되게 긴장 안 하고 편하게 경기.
Good, always good to hear.
It's a very nice environment.
Brilliant. And just final couple of questions. What's he been thinking about London? And oh, we've lost the mic. 2 seconds, guys. We're going to do a quick replace of the battery. Okay, that mic had 2 bars of battery out of 3. That should have been completely fine. So I'll just continue to feel the dead air while we... It's terrible, JJAKJI, isn't it? He's like looking at what? we don't know why these unfortunate things happen, but we are prepared. Our lovely production guy is on hand to help us with issues like this. So I'll just continue to talk over it while we do a quick battery. We should really put him like on a timer and just be like, how long is he taking to do his battery job? Da, 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 da. We'll all end up just doing a little dance. He's checking that we've got sound back. He's now talking to him saying, have we got sound back? Really apologise about this, viewers. Actually, what I'll say while I'm here is, don't forget, this is an arena in London. We're in a cinema. You can come here. I think it's £15 for a day ticket, and you get to watch all this StarCraft action, meet the pros like JJAKJI, Jaedong, who's still going to be hanging about with Snoot and everyone other people have been eliminated. You get to see all these guys, take some pictures with them, meet them, talk to them, ask a couple of questions. The Gfinity Arena is fantastic. I've been tweeting out some pictures like the crowd and stuff watching. It'll be great to see more StarCraft 2 fans come on down and come enjoy some of the atmosphere, because it is really a good community vibe feel. And also, we got popcorn. Who doesn't want popcorn? It's always a beneficial thing to have at a gaming event and in a cinema. Oh, and the screens do look amazing. Oh God, we've got our own. We've got headset mics for our hands. Well, it makes it easier. So what I was going to ask JJAKJI was, obviously he's in London. What's his thoughts about London? What's his overall thoughts for the whole Gfinity Arena? And has he met any nice fans or anything like that?
런던에 온 소감이랑 또 이번 대회장이 좀 특별하잖아요. 그거에 대해서 좀 소감이나 뭐 팬들 만난 분들 뭐 그런 거에 대해서 얘기해 주세요.
그 작년에도 지피니티 대회 한번 왔었는데 그때는 떨어지고 너무 힘들어서 호텔에만 있었거든요. 그래서 이번에는 올 때 좀 일찍 떨어지면은 관광 좀 하자 그랬는데 마지막 날까지 올라가 버려서 잘 관광하고 싶긴 한데, 일단 그리고 경기장은 되게 좋은 것 같아요. 그리고 몰랐는데 GPNT가 5번인가 열린다고, 그래서 다음번에도 꼭 올 수 있었으면 좋겠어요.
So actually last time I was at Gfinity, I lost pretty early on in the tournament, and I was like really frustrated and disappointed, so I just stayed at the hotel.
Oh.
So this time coming to this tournament, I was like, if I lose in this tournament again, I will just go around London and go sightseeing.
Oh,
but
yes.
now I've qualified for the last day. So I'm pretty busy, I guess. And
Hopefully.
yeah, and yeah.
Well, JJAKJI, I'm sure you'll come back and you get to enjoy London some more and just book a couple of extra days for some tourism, that's for sure. Now, any final words and things you want to say to the fans out there? And we
actually I have one more question.
Oh, whoa. Inu, go, fire away.
Like, after the game, JJAKJI went to Saxbury and they talked about the game. I was curious about what they were talking about.
Insight, I love this. Ask him away. This is what we want.
게임이 끝나고 삭스리랑 만나가지고 무슨 게임에 대해서 얘기를 했던 것 같은데 무슨 얘기를 했는지 혹시 말해줄 수 있는지.
I love it.
그 예훈이 형이랑 소울키 형이 저보고 트롤이라고
Really wish I knew what they were
빨리
saying
집에
before
가야 돼,
this.
호텔 가야 되는데 마지막에 메카닉 있어서 오래 했다고 그 얘기했어요.
Yeah, so he was talking actually to Solki and Saxbury, and they both told him that he is a troll for playing a mechanic build in the last game and drawing it out so long because they all wanted to go together to the hotel and grab some food.
JJAKJI trolling and making people not eat. BM.
Sorry.
Before we wrap it up then, Inu, I think I might just get you to just ask questions with me. That was good. I really like that. Well done to Inu for firing off that question, the insider information, hanging around with our pros all weekend. So the final questions posed to JJAKJI will just be any words for his fans. Maybe something in English would be perfect.
Cheer for me tomorrow.
Yes. Well, hopefully everyone will be cheering for you, JJAKJI. Good luck tomorrow. Guys, that is all from the Gfinity Arena. I've been Banks. We've got JJAKJI and we've got Inu. They're going to be here tomorrow. They're going to be rocking and rolling with the games inside the arena. You can get your tickets at gfinity.net/tickets. Come on down to London. Come take part and see some of the action kicking off. And we'll be back tomorrow from 12 p.m. See you then.